Thank you. I hope so.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here again. I won't reintroduce myself, but I urge...
No, you need to reintroduce yourself.
Well, former student body president at Cal State Fresno. And I I just want to stress...
And your name?
Pedro Ramirez. Sorry about that. I want to stress the
You can just
importance
call him Mr. President if you like.
Mr. President.
I want to stress the importance of this. When my status was revealed, I was a national figure for the debate of the Federal Dream Act, and I had the privilege and honor to go to Washington, D.C. to advocate both times when the House and the Senate were taking this issue up. When I came back to California, to many I was seen as a hero and inspiration. And I travel the state right now, elementary schools, preschools, universities, community colleges, and many of these students actively write to me, email me, call me, and seek my advice to tell me how I made it through college, because I graduated this past year. They want to know, and they're afraid. A lot of these students have made it to prestigious universities like Harvard, Yale. A lot of them have made it to the UC systems, and they need your help, they need your support. We don't just call ourselves dreamers because of the acronym, the Development and Relief for Education Alien Minors. That's the acronym. But we call ourselves because we have aspirations, we have hope, and we want to commit ourselves to this country. And so I urge your support.
Thank you, Pedro.
My name is Amy Lopez. I'm a student at Sacramento State. I'm also an undocumented student. I've been organizing with the Dreamers since I got to Sac State 4 years ago. I was brought to this country when I was 8 years old, and like many of the other Dreamers, I did what I was supposed to do. I graduated with a high GPA and was accepted to UC Davis in Sacramento State. This is my 4th year there, and like Pedro shared, we've become a very close-knit community who know each other. And that's how we get through the ropes, by the underground network that we've been able to build. And like Idris shared with you earlier, we're tired of that. We're ready to step out of the shadows and say we're talented youth, and we're ready to share with America what you've invested in us. So I urge your vote today. Your I vote today.
Thank you very much.
My name is Diana Sawyer, and I urge your I vote.
Thank you.
Michael Arnold here on behalf of the City of Long Beach, strongly in support of Senator's bill.
Thank you.
I move the bill.
Bill's been moved by Senator Alquist. Senator Price.
I want to applaud the author and just say ditto to all the fine comments made by all the witnesses. And I'd like to be a co-author on this as well, Mr. Chairman. Co-author.
Thank you. I omitted to ask, is there anyone in opposition? I'm sorry.
Not alive.
Nope. Wonderful. Senator Vargas.
Thank you very much. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone that was here, in particular the young lady that came and spoke at the beginning. I don't think that I've heard testimony like that ever. It was very courageous for her to come forward and to give us her testimony. Thank you very much, wherever you are. Secondly, I'm very happy that Marco Antonio Fireball's name was mentioned. I'm certain that our good friend is smiling down from heaven today, yes, as we hopefully move this important issue forward. And lastly, I certainly can't add anything to the wonderful testimony here other than to say that I think that social justice and basic fairness demand that we move forward on this issue, and I'm a strong supporter.
Thank you. I just want to conclude and just say my point. This has been wonderful testimony. I think we've been tremendously touched by the testimony. I don't remember whether it was the Chancellor who mentioned it, but before I was here in the legislature, I was a faculty member at California State University, Long Beach. Chancellor didn't mention that, but Karen did. But I used to teach the mentoring classes, and so in the psychology department, and we would adopt entire college classes, we would adopt entire high school classes, and work with them over a number of years. And one of the surprising things that we found was not only the numbers of students that were not documented, but the large number of students who, during this process of having someone that they could trust, learned that they were undocumented. They didn't even know. Now that they were beginning to apply to college, we moved them on to apply. They did not. They had been here their entire lives and really never understood. I really applaud Senator Cedillo for bringing this forward. This is really the right thing to do. California is poised now, everyone is watching us, to do the right thing. Senator, would you like to close?
Thank you so much. I, like you, am overwhelmed and flattered and in awe of the testimony, the courage, and the shared life experiences of these young men and women. I've been privileged to meet almost every single one in this state as I've carried this legislation, and they really are the best and the brightest. They are part of a great generation of young people who will come through this experience. I spoke to them this weekend, as you heard, and they remind me of these students of the 60s that were involved in this Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. You may know that Congressman John Lewis was part of that. Congressman Bob Filner was inspired by their work. That Marion Wright Edelman was a participant with them. That they, along with the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, were the lead in the civil rights movement of this nation to move forward, to break out this our nation and move and make it truer to what it says. And so they too, these young men and women, are going to be those same types of leaders: architects, engineers, scientists, just great thinkers, innovators, the types of innovators that we've had from the Silicon Valley that helped create so many important industries for us. And so I've been really flattered by that. And I want to say two things. One, and you heard Maria say this, education is for life. My mother used to tell me this all the time. You know, mijo, if you get educated, that's for life. They can never take that away from you. And for these young men and women, their education is for life, but their legal status isn't. And so some will ask, well, you know, why are we educating them? We don't know whether or not they can work or they can't work. And the fact of the matter is, their legal status will change. I've had young men and women come and work in my office. Young man's now a professor. I've had others come in. Young man's now a political director for a very powerful union. Another's come in and he works for a legislator. I mean, I've seen this happen where young men and women come in within a short period of time, their lives are transformed by education, and then their legal status changes, and they are prepared to seize the moment. They are prepared to help lead this state forward and lead this nation. And my second point, if I may, is that we have, us here today, a real opportunity to make a statement to the President and to the Congress, to the Senate, that there is a direction for this nation, a more optimistic direction, a more positive direction, a more unified direction. And this passage of this bill is a statement for that national unity. It's a statement of optimism. It's a statement that says that we still have hope, that we still believe in the future. That's what this bill does, not just for these students, but for us as a state and for us as a nation. I cannot be more flattered than to be here with you today. I thank you, and I ask for an aye vote.
Thank you. The motion is do pass. It's been moved. Will the Secretary please call the roll?
Do pass to appropriations.
Oh, do pass to appropriations.
Lowenthal?
Aye.
Lowenthal, aye. Runner? Alquist?
Aye.
Alquist, aye. Blakesley? Hancock? Huff? Lou? Aye. Lou, aye. Price? Semidian? Semidian, aye. Vargas? Aye. Vargas, aye. We have 5 votes.
The bill has 5 votes. We're going to place it on call for the absent members. Thank you, Senator.
Thank all of you. Please.
All right, everybody can take a deep breath now. Now we're going to move on to Assemblymember Eng. Item AB 189. Welcome.
Good afternoon,
Is it
Mr.
really?
Chair. What an
Is it
honor to
already
be here
this afternoon?
in your esteemed committee. I want to just carry on a very inspiring theme because it applies to this bill as well. Education is for life. Mention the word adult education, no doubt, and you will conjure up memories of constituents that come in through the door who say that adult education saved me. It allowed me to communicate with my children and help them do homework. It gave me a path forward to get a better job, pass a citizenship exam. Adult education and regional occupational centers provide educational and post-educational services to a broad section of California's population and inspires both adults and high school students to enter the workforce more prepared than they would have been without these programs. These programs have historically been protected and are called categoricals. However, due to budget challenges, legislation now permits schools a certain amount of flexibility to take money out of these categorical areas and use them for other purposes, and I fully understand that. Although this flexibility has allowed school districts to remain fiscally solvent, it sometimes has resulted in unintended consequences, which is the closure of these categorical programs and the dramatic curtailment of services in our state without much public awareness or a transparent process in place for the legislator to track the flow of categorical funds. This bill, AB 189, hopes to address that. This bill is about transparency. By modifying the existing public hearing and reporting requirements for participation in categorical flexibility, this bill will give parents the ability to know when these valuable programs will be severely cut and the opportunity to give input to the district. This bill also allows the legislature to receive information about how districts are spending their funds in these categorical areas. Now, some may argue that this bill does not go far enough and would like to see more transparency in the reporting of this expenditure of these funds. To those, I say I cannot agree more, and previous versions of the bill spoke to that. However, the Assembly Fiscal Committee determined that we would create extraordinary and extensive burdens on our budget and LEAs and figured out a way that will allow us to better track how these funds are spent as a whole, with much less cost. Because this bill creates more transparency at the local level and provides a basic level of reporting to facilitate state oversight of flexibility, it is a significant step in the right direction. I have with me today Mr. Craig Brown and Mr. Mike Wada, representing the sponsors of the bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Witnesses in support.
Hi, my name is Mike Wada. I am the state president for the California Council for Adult Education. AB 189 creates a framework within which stakeholders and policymakers can hold collaborative discussions to determine how to use limited resources. We would urge you and respectfully urge you to make an aye vote.
Thank you.
Craig Brown on behalf of the council. Again, this is an important issue about preparing the workforce. That's why my other client, another of my clients, California Correctional Peace Officers Association, support. They recognize without a prepared workforce, the economy is not going to be what it should be, and it's going to hurt all of us. We urge your support.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Jeff Frost, representing the California Teachers of English to Speakers of Other Languages. They have a significant adult ed component to their organization. We're in strong support of the bill.
Lynn Fox on behalf of the California Federation of Teachers in strong support. Thank you.
Are there any other witnesses in support?
Terry Burns on behalf of the California Association of Adult Education Administrators, the California Association of Leaders of Career Preparation, and the California Association for the Gifted. We think it's all too easy for school districts to simply say, we're amending the budget tonight, making some changes, without the community being really aware that their particular programs are at risk, having the opportunity to address that to the board. So we think this is incredibly helpful. We also think it's important that the Department of Education continue to put out those funds in a manner so that programs can know what was intended for their program so that they can advocate in that behalf.
Thank you.
I'm Chris Nelson with the California Council for Adult Education, and I respectfully ask for your support for AB 189.
Thank you.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for your consideration of this. My name is Joanne Durkee. I'm a longtime adult education educator for over 30 years and a member of California Council for Adult Education, and I strongly urge your support of this bill.
Thank you.
I'm Margaret Scott. I've been in adult education for 25 years. I strongly support 189. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Kathy Brenzel on behalf of Montebello Unified School District. My district is in strong support of this bill, and we respectfully ask for an aye vote on AB 189.
Thank you.
Good morning. Sue Gilmore, Director of Adult Education for Sacramento City Unified School District, and ask for your support.
Thank you.
Hello, Nancy Lacoste representing Metropolitan Education District, and they're in support of this transparency provision in the bill. Thank you.
Thank you.
Steve Henderson, California School Employees Association, in support.
Other witnesses in support? Are there any witnesses in opposition?
Thank you, Senator and members. I'm Mike Ricketts. I'm here representing the Torrance Unified School District and the Poway Unified School District. And we understand and appreciate the authors taking a number of amendments to this bill already. We still have an opposed position on the bill simply because if you look at the context of the flexibility that was granted to school districts, in mid-year 2009, school districts had to make dramatic cuts to their programs. The legislature said, we're not going to tell you how to make those cuts. We're going to give you the flexibility to determine that locally. So boards have made decisions, many of which none of them wanted to make, but they had to make because they no longer had the resources to support all those programs. So now I think this bill sends a message to local school districts and boards that the legislature says, you know, we're not sure you made the right decision, so we want you to have one more step you need to go through in order to affirm those decisions. It has to be done separately from the meeting at which you will take the actions to implement those decisions. We think it just creates another administrative barrier for districts to do things that they don't necessarily like to do, but they've had to do in very difficult times, so we're opposed to the bill. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Katie Valenzuela with Public Advocates. And while we do thank the author for his intent to strengthen public transparency, we do have an opposed unless amended position on this bill, and we have communicated our concerns with committee and author staff. We are not opposed to the strengthening of the public meeting requirement. What we're opposed to is the recent amendments that muddle the state's ability to track Tier 3 funds under flexibility. We believe that the current language in the amended section provides little to no transparency for specific funding streams that are made flexible. The amended bill has the department sending funds to the districts through one unique identifier code, and then telling the districts that they only have to report under that one unique identifier code. By establishing only one code, these funds that are applicable to all categorical flexibility funds, districts will receive flexible dollars from the state in one lump sum. Receiving the funding from the state in one lump sum means that the districts will be unable to track the movement of funds from any specific categorical program, making it impossible for them to report at the state or local level changes under flexibility with regards to the funding within specific categorical programs. We are not opposed to flexibility, but are concerned that the original categoricals are being wiped out and the needs of the most vulnerable students are being overlooked. We are strongly opposed to any changes in statute that will make it harder for districts to comply with reporting requirements at the state and local level, and make it harder for you and the public to understand what's happening under flexibility. We respectfully request amendments to clarify that categorical funding that falls under Tier 3 flexibility be given to districts in its original funding streams. Then, once they receive the money at the district should have the ability to group all funds in one lump sum if that is their decision, but they still must report to the public, the legislature, and the Department of Finance both where those funds originated and where those funds were eventually used under flexibility, drawing the linkage so that we can see how funds are moving under this temporary fiscal situation. And until the bill is amended in this way, we unfortunately have to request a no vote from the committee. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other witnesses in opposition? If not, members wish to. Senator Price.
I'm inclined to support this. I appreciate the efforts of the author and sponsor on it. But I do have some concerns. I think they've been raised to some degree, how the department is going to be able to report to us how districts use flex if they're instructing the districts not to be explicit in that area. And so how do you kind of respond to that sort of juxtaposition?
Sir, we would like, maybe not her specific amendments. We started out trying to get a robust reporting system. It hit the fiscal committee and appropriately, I believe, got scaled back. This bill is an improvement. This is a small step on the reporting piece is a small step in the right direction. It's not the big step others would like.
Well, I think anything we can do to strengthen the transparency is important.
And certainly this does strengthen transparency greatly at the local level.
Absolutely. I'm prepared to move the bill.
Bill's been moved by Senator Price. I, too, want to say that it is a small step, but a meaningful step. I would have liked, but I like to have gone further in terms of the reporting requirements. But I also believe that anything that we can do to increase transparency, and especially at a time of great budgetary constraints, and also to make sure that public hearings and the people have a right to hear what is going to take place, especially when any program is changed, is a very, very important step. It may not be the only step, but it's extremely important that these decisions be made with full sunshine, and that people understand that there are consequences to their actions. And I support the intentions and also the way the bill is done. And I'm greatly saddened that we do not have the financial resources to really do what we really need to do. But given those constraints, I think this is a very important step forward. Assembly Member, would you like to close?
Yeah, thank you very much for the questions and the comments. In closing, just want to narrow one point. As the excellent analysis from the committee reports, that more and more districts are discontinuing these very important programs, and I think it's important for parents and the community to know that, and just as importantly, I think it's important for the legislature to know that, so that we can be informed about the specific effects when we do move from categorical to flexibility. Respectfully request an aye vote.
The motion is do pass
To appropriations.
to appropriations, where you've had lots of fun before.
Transportation was more fun.
Will the Secretary please call the roll?
Lowenthal.
Aye.
Lowenthal, aye. Brunner. Alquist. Blakesley. Hancock. Huff. Lou. Price.
Aye.
Price, aye. Semidian.
Aye.
Semidian, aye. Vargas. You have 3 votes.
That bill has 3 votes. We'll place that bill on call for the absent members. Thank you, Assembly Member. Assembly Member Mitchell. I think that's, where are we? I don't even see. Yes, item number 27. Welcome.
Thank you very much,
Glad
Mr.
to have
Chair
you.
and members. Good morning.
Good morning.
That's what I call perfect timing
You can still say morning.
for another 35 minutes. Thank you very much for the opportunity to present to you AB 835, a measure which calls for better coordination between career technical education programs, high schools, and community colleges in order to maximize student participation. Additionally, I am more than happy to accept the suggested language in the staff comments, which will authorize the enrollment to the extent the course is not offered at a pupil's high school, to ensure that these courses do not supplant courses offered in their local high school. Studies have shown that students who complete such courses are significantly more likely to pursue higher education and to have higher paying careers. AB 835 removes administrative barriers that have prevented students from diverse geographic regions from participating in in-depth career exploration to gain marketable skills, and that will assist them in developing a career upon graduation. This bill has enjoyed bipartisan support in both Assembly Higher Ed and Assembly Education committees, as well as on the Assembly floor, and has received no votes. There are witnesses here to testify in support.
Thank you. And we'll accept those as author's amendments. Thank you. Yes, witnesses in support.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Mark Epstein. I am project manager of NorCal Environmental Student Network, and as part of that position, the statewide coordinator of the SB 70 Environmental Career Preparation Program in partnership with the California Community Colleges Environmental Training Centers. AP 835 was drafted from the frustration of high school career academy and pathway programs since the onset of the budget crisis. Our program has been providing services to the academy program students through sponsorship of intensive workshops. Many of these workshops are residential over long weekends or summer vacation, bringing students from various academies from multiple school sites which are widely geographically dispersed. The community college credits the students earn are in classes which are available at few and widely dispersed colleges. Prior to the budget crisis, it took a substantial effort to have colleges participate for students in locations outside their service areas. Now, with the current financial situation, it is extremely difficult. Within the environmental and green technology area, we have identified 7 substrands we seek to create certificates to be completed over the entire 3 years the students are enrolled in these academies. The certificates will include these intensive workshops with community college credit, and this bill will assist in making this objective a reality. In a sense, we are attempting to do is to meet the intent to rebuild and strengthen career technical education as outlined by recent legislation. Since the onset of the budget crisis, the classes which were offered have been suspended. Due to the fact that the students we have been training produce quality products for several organizations, these organizations have been willing to provide funding to continue the program. With the change in the funding method, we have hit administrative barriers. What we are asking is to have the tools to deliver educational opportunities to the economically disadvantaged students of the Academy and Pathway programs without the restrictions of outdated policies and procedures in order to maintain access to financially affordable post-secondary education for this population and to provide a long-term benefit to the economic competitiveness of this state. We ask for an aye vote.
Thank you. Other witnesses in support?
Yes. I am Katie Noonan. I'm a science teacher at Oakland High School and co-director of the Environmental Science Academy at Oakland High School. And I am here to say that I teach very academic subjects in my high school. 10th grade biology, advanced placement courses. The programs offered by Mr. Epstein have allowed my students to integrate what they've learned in some of their academic subjects and to apply them to some real projects. It allows them to get out of Oakland, which is where I teach, and to work with students from a variety of areas in California on developing skills, working together. And this is so important to them to realize that they can work with people outside of their immediate community and that they can compete and cooperate at that level. It's also been valuable to me as a teacher to work with community college teachers and other similarly interested high school teachers to bring this kind of experience related to future careers into our curriculum at the high school level. And I would second what Mr. Epstein said, that of the students I've worked with over the past 5 years in this program, many have gone on to college and to get into careers that use the skills that we've actually worked on in these workshops. So I thought it was highly beneficial.
Thank you. Other witnesses in support?
Hello, my name is Lai Chao. I'm an upcoming senior in the Environmental Science Academy at Oakland High School. I want to pursue in this field, so I believe that community college credit is very important. It motivates students to devote their extra time to be trained in real work experience. However, sadly, students won't do anything unless it gives them various advantages, such as credit for college, and then also through this course, you gain new knowledge dealing with GIS and GPS. You learn new skills and develop them. This bill also allows more access to more opportunities if courses can be held in any location and students outside the district can take the course. I find this very important since it brings students from different locations together. I love talking to students from different places who have similar interests in outside technology. And then with my experience and knowledge, I understand the budget crisis, but I don't understand why adults in the administration deny community college credit to students when money is being raised to make up for the budget cuts. I might just be one student, but my face represents the face of students being denied educational opportunities because adults have too many rules. Please vote yes to AB 835.
You've come to the land of rules.
That's what we do.
So true.
We don't know anything else to do, but that was a wonderful statement.
Yes, it was. And our last witness is another student. If you would indulge us, please, Mr. Chair.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Howdy. My name is Jeremy Altringer. I just recently graduated from River City High School, and I'll be going to Sac City soon. Geospatial technology is a valuable tool that I wouldn't have any knowledge about without the classes. At first, I thought that GIS and GPS tech was just a fun application until I learned about all the real-world applications and opportunities. There are many scholarships and internships for this field of study, one of which would be data collection for hiking trails, because who's to say what's an easy trail until you really hike it? What's easy for some is hard for others. This type of supplemental training needs to be available to high school students, no matter where they live. Subsequently, I found that this training works better when it's with students from a variety of schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Other witnesses in support?
Terry Burns on behalf of the California Association of Leaders of Career Preparation. This is just another example of how partners can work together to provide career technical education to students that meets their needs across the economic spectrum.
Thank you. Are there any witnesses in opposition? Members of the committee? Assembly member, Senator Price.
Yeah, I just want to commend the Assembly member. I think this is an important improvement, an incremental change that can really make a difference, and I appreciate her deep and early leadership on this issue.
Thank you, Senator. I appreciate that.
I too want to commend you. I think it's an excellent bill. I am concerned not about the bill, but that we don't raise expectations with this tremendous cuts that we're about to undertake. That community colleges or schools will be able to provide the kinds of sites which I think are really necessary for this to go forward. I think we need to put this in place. I think we need this flexibility. I think you're right. It is burdensome what we have now. I'm just saying let's go forward as we move this bill forward with our eyes open and understand we are going through some very, very difficult times at this moment. And that has nothing, and we, unfortunately, it may be that we, in some sense, not so much the legislature, but the legislature too, we may not be able to do the right thing at the local level. But I think it's important that we provide the opportunity for the local level school to do the right thing.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair and members, for your remarks. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think it is an opportunity we have here in the policy context and the policy arena to make the policy statement and create the infrastructure.
Absolutely.
If the dollars were to magically come from Queen Khalifa and the Gold Mountains.
And we're waiting. We have
hurry up, Queen Khalifa. But I really want to acknowledge the tireless efforts of Mr. Epstein and the Science Educators Institute, and thank you for bringing students today to really put a dose of reality to kind of these words in the policy conversation. And with that, I ask for the committee's aye vote.
Thank you. And the bill has been moved by Senator Price. Do pass as amended. Secretary, please call the roll.
Lowenthal?
Aye.
Lowenthal, aye. Runner, Alquist, Blakesley, Hancock, Huff, Liu, Price.
Aye.
Price, aye. Semidian, Vargas. You have 2 votes.
You have 2 votes. We're going to place that on call for the absent member.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank
Chair
you.
and members. Appreciate it.
We're going to return to item number 9, AB, what's it? 199.
Senator, Colonel Cook and I are both co-presenting, so would you like us to sit here or take turns at the rostrum? What would you prefer?
Whatever you prefer. You could stand next to each other. You can, whatever you would like.
I love standing next to Colonel Cook.
All right. This is so nice.
So thank you very much, members. We are back, hoping that the fourth time is a charm. To start, I'm happy to take the suggested technical amendments in the committee analysis to move the provisions of this bill to the Education Section 51221.3. Honored to present AB 199, a bill to assure that our children and future generations learn about the significant contributions and sacrifice of these brave Filipino World War II veterans like the ones with me today before we lose them in history. I just want to note that when we first introduced this bill in 2007, there were 84 veterans, and now there are only 17. And so time is of essence. We really feel that we have a responsibility to record their histories, their stories, so that others will know the true story directly from the veterans and not from a third party. And I'm going to have Colonel Cook say a few words as well, since he is very knowledgeable and passionate about this issue, more so than I can be. So, Colonel Cook.
Thank you. Welcome to our committee.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. As the Assemblywoman said, the fourth time is a charm. And I am very passionate about this bill. You know, there's an old saying, never fall in love with your bill. I fall in love with every one of my bills or I wouldn't run them.
All right.
And this more so than ever because...
you go to family court a lot?
Well, what can I say? The point I want to make is that this is a tragedy that this bill has not been passed earlier. It went through bipartisan support. You probably remember this bill.
Yes.
And it's just very, very sad for what happened. I think everybody knows the history of these individuals after World War II. They stepped up. They were part of the U.S. Commonwealth. They served in one of the toughest arenas of World War II. Extremely difficult situations, high number of casualties, families. And then the United States, quite frankly, did an about-face and said, we don't want anything to do with you. This bill is very, very simple. And hopefully, you know, looks back in history and and I do have to mention, as a history professor, I truly believe that sometimes history is written by the current generation, but for what these gentlemen and their families and wives and spouses and kids went through, where we basically, through this bill, acknowledge their role in U.S. history, is just one small way of saying, you know, thank you after so many years. And yeah, that we're doing this now. This should have been done right after the war. So obviously this is something that's important to both of us. These individuals, I don't know how many committees we've gone through. They have been there. Talk about warriors. I mean, they're still ready to pack up and go back in the jungles and whatever cause, you know, needs to be fought. So this is the last battle for us, I think, and for these gentlemen to try and correct something that obviously was just a horrible, horrible decisions when we turned our back on them. So I ask for your aye vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Witnesses in support.
Thank you. Hello there.
Hello.
I'm Mr. Regino Inacua, Philippine Scout, World War II. In behalf of the Filipino veterans, we appreciate very much for your help. For the reason is about our sacrifice during the World War II. The sacrifice of the veterans, especially the fighter guerrilla in the Philippines, who fought with the Japanese forces, who failed, but the Japanese forces still fighting for the Filipino veterans. But we fight for them. Well, we want the Philippine and the American government to help us to recognize our sacrifice, especially the children, to recognize our help and our sacrifice to both the World War II veterans and to both the enemy of the United States of America. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Other witnesses in support.
I am Alberto Saldajeno, World War II veteran, 91 years of age. And war broke out, I was
great.
in Manila. I was bivouac in Santo Tomas University, ready to be sent to Bataan. But General MacArthur at that time made Manila an open city, and so we were disbanded. However, I went home to our native province, Antique, in the Philippines. Now, and then I became a guerrilla and was inducted to the USAPIP. In 2009, it was only in 2009 that the U.S. Congress recognized us as American nationals. But in year 2000, only 30% knew that the Philippines was a colony of the United States. We get our orders from the President of the United States. With this passing of this bill, I hope you are going to support us so that the coming generation will know who we Filipinos are during the wartime. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Other witnesses in support?
My name is Rudy Assertion. I come from a family of military servicemen. I'm here as a commissioner of the Veterans War Memorial Commission in San Francisco, and we fully support the World War II veterans, and we fully support the introduction of their story into the curriculum. And the rationale is that this is our experience. This is an American experience. When the President of the United States asked this gentleman to delay and battle the Japanese while Allied forces were prepared, this gentleman came through, but after service had been rendered in good faith, we neglected to even thank them. And it took 65 years before we even recognized them and give them an entitlement. Talking about entitlement, this is not an entitlement, ladies and gentlemen. If it is, it's an entitlement for the benefits of the future generation because they need to learn the American experience that led up to this point. And perhaps stories like this can be a precursor so that at some point we will no longer have wars. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Other witnesses in support?
Pam Bachilla on behalf of the San Francisco Unified School District. This is an important history to share with our students.
Thank you. Other witnesses? Are there any witnesses in opposition? Members? I want to say a few things. I'm very supportive. I was very struck with the fact that when you first started, there were, you said 84 living Filipino Americans who had served in the war. Now we're down to 17. The story has never been told and recognized. And it's not the only story. I will also say that the role of Filipino Americans in the farm worker movement is another untold story of their great contribution to that. So I'm very supportive, and I hope that this is the time that we move this bill forward and we have the governor sign the bill. Bill's been moved by Senator Alquist. Would both of you like to close in unison? Come on.
Well, you can have the last word, but as a veteran, you know, I just for what these folks here went through and the way history has forgotten about them, I think it's just a sad travesty, and this bill will hopefully correct that.
Well, thank you for being the originator and the first person to bring this to us, and now you're joining with Assemblymember Ma, so I think that's just wonderful.
Thank you.
Right.
We have been partners in crime on this, but as a history teacher, I think in some of the prior testimony, Colonel Cook will talk about the history books, and the history books did not reflect the Filipino Americans and what they've done to help. And so I think that's why he's passionate about it. I'm passionate about it. I represent Daly City. These are all my constituents, and so just respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Bill's been moved as amended.
That's correct.
Secretary, please call the roll.
Lowenthal?
Aye.
Lowenthal, aye. Runner? Alquist? Aye. Alquist, aye. Blakesley? Hancock? Huff? Liu? Price? Aye. Price, aye. Smidian? Vargas? 3 votes.
Bill has 3 votes. We'll place it on call for the absent member.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Assemblymember Brownlee.
She's got 4 bills.
How many? 4? Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chair.
I see you have 4 bills, and later on I'll say good afternoon to you. But right now it's still good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
I believe you're going to present to us first AB 202.
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Senators. The intent of AB 202 is to reform and streamline the mandate process in order to reduce state and local workload, to reduce mandate reimbursement processing time, and to reduce administrative cost. The proposals in this bill are consistent with an October 2009 follow-up audit on mandate reimbursement processes that was conducted by the California State Auditor, and also consistent with discussions that took place in the staff level mandates working group called for in last year's Budget Act. Specifically, this bill augments the LAO reporting requirements to provide more information to the legislature. It allows a local education agency to designate another LEA to serve as a proxy during the mandate process. It requires the legislature to be notified if annual claims on an LEA mandate exceed the statewide cost estimate by more than 25%. And 4, restructures a process for getting simpler, formula-driven, reasonable reimbursement methodologies on LEA mandates. The bill also makes any new state-mandated educational program inoperative in 5 years, but I'm accepting, as author's amendments, your recommendation to delete that provision of the bill. And I really do sincerely appreciate the work that your committee staff has done on this bill. Very grateful for that.
So, Assembly Member, there are 2 amendments that we're asking you to take, I believe. The one that's the amendment striking the section about the automatic trigger from on page 12, lines 11 through 26, and then also the technical amendment to harmonize the changes between the 2 measures by striking the last sentence in Government Code section 17562B, subsection 1, which would be consistent with the changes contemplated.
That is correct. I didn't mention the technical piece of it, but
just want to get
yes,
that in
I am
for
accepting
the record.
Both amendments.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. I also remain committed to examining other approaches to mandate reform, either as this bill moves forward or in the next legislative session. I will keep your committee informed as we continue this work, and I look forward to our committees working together on this issue. So thank you very much for this opportunity.
And thank you. Witnesses in support.
I'm Dennis Myers with the California Association of School Business Officials. We're in support of the bill for all the reasons that Assemblymember Brownlee just enumerated to you. Particularly excited. This is a balanced approach. It doesn't really, favor the state's point of view, favor LEA's point of view. It does work towards a faster settlement of what a particular mandate would cost and moving the process of claims through faster. Especially appreciative of the effort to move towards a resolution of what number we would come up with for a reasonable reimbursement method or a unit rate by getting the disagreements through arbitration, which is something that we feel is needed. Certainly, we like the part that had the automatic sunset, but if we come in liking the bill because it has 8 things we like and it goes out with 7 things we like, we still think it's a great bill. So we urge your support. Thank you.
Thank you. That's a very interesting way of putting it.
Good morning. I'm Maureen Evans with Education Mandated Cost Network. On behalf of more than 4 million ADA and more than 600 local educational agencies, we support the bill. We believe that this is making good progress towards streamlining the process and making it easier for school districts to provide their claims and receive reimbursement. We're especially in favor of the streamlining of the process and to come up with a reasonable methodology for reimbursement to LEAs.
Thank you. Other witnesses in support.
Erica Hoffman on behalf of the California School Boards Association, and for all the reasons already mentioned, we are in support of the measure. Thank you.
Adane Mack with the Association of California School Administrators. We're also in support.
Patty Scripter, California State PTA, in support.
Thank you.
Hello, Katie Valenzuela with Public Advocates, and we'd like to thank the author for accepting the recent amendments and are happy to remove our opposition to the bill and support this measure.
Thank you. Are there any other witnesses in support? Are there any witnesses in opposition?
Move the bill.
Bill's been moved by Senator Price as amended. Would you like to close?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think, we we all know and continue to see backlogs, delays, excessive administrative costs, and I think this bill moves us a step forward in terms of some remedy over that process, and I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
And we concur.
Thank you.
Will the Secretary please call the roll?
Do pass as amended to appropriations. Lowenthal?
Aye.
Lowenthal, aye. Runner? Alquist? Aye. Alquist, aye. Blakesley? Hancock? Huff? Lou? Price? Aye. Price, aye. Semidian? Vargas? You have 3 votes.
Bill has 3 votes. Now
Put it on call.
we'll place that bill on call for the absent members. I was almost going to pass it out with 3 votes, but you did. Our trusty secretary.
Are you
said,
looking into the crystal
can't
ball?
do that. We've been here for 3 hours straight.
Yeah, I understand.
So we're going to continue on, though. Marching on. We're moving on, Assembly Member, I believe, to item number 14.
Yes, AB 360.
Thank you.
Thank you. AB 360 requires charter schools to comply with the same conflict of interest policies as school districts. The bill requires charter schools to comply with the Brown Act or the Bagley-Keene Act, whichever applies, the Public Records Act, the Political Reform Act, and specifies that members of charter school boards may not be financially interested in any decision made by the board, which is Government Code 1090. This bill will continue the long-standing tradition that charter schools have greater autonomy than traditional public schools, but at the same time provide greater transparency to parents and the public regarding the use of public funds by charter schools for the educational benefit of their students and our students. This bill has nothing to do with the governance of charter schools. It has everything to do with providing similar transparency requirements as school districts. Everyone agrees that charter schools are public schools and that their governing boards have authority over public funds. Charter school governing boards should be held, in my opinion, to at least the same standard as school district boards for conflict of interest. And with that, this committee has seen this bill previously, and I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you. Witnesses in support.
Thank you, and good morning. My name is Dr. Kenneth Schmidt, and I was the inaugural president of the Board of Trustees for the Great Valley Academy Charter School of Modesto. My resignation after 8 months of serving as a president of that board was a direct result of the failure of the school administration to follow the Brown Act or the Bagley-Keene Open Meetings Act or the Political Reform Act. Specifically, there was a failure to supply the board meeting agenda in a timely manner in order to make informed decisions regarding school finances, compliance with state and federal laws, and human resources. During my presidency on the board, I frequently requested that the board be provided agendas at least 48, if not 72 hours before a meeting, and that the agendas be made public, and that the training in the Brown Act be provided, and the minutes the boards be posted. There was never any posting of the public or private meetings. Prior to the school's opening in August of 2008, I was told just moments before a board meeting that the school would not be opened on schedule for the students who had already enrolled in this school unless the board approved a contract with the Smart Schools of California, a corporation that was owned by the founder. Without any opportunity to look at the fiscal plan, I was extremely pressured to approve the document. And since that time, questions have been raised regarding how that document may have served to financially benefit the founder and the owner of the associated company that runs a company, or a school rather, in Grand Traverse, Michigan. To the best of my money, large sums of money were exchanged. This money is obtained through California taxpayer dollars for the education of our state's children, not for the creation of private enterprise. In a similar fashion, we are informed about Form 700. We are not informed about the importance of the document. And 2 years later, we learned then from a concerned parent that Form 700 had not been filed for any of the board members. By state law, each of us is held responsible for that, fiscally responsible, financially responsible. Apparently, California's laws regarding fair political practice don't apply to charter schools and their members. Throughout my term, I inquired as to why the board was made up of individuals selected by the founder. It was and is my belief that school boards should be comprised of duly elected community members and parents. I never received a response from the founder or the administration. To the best of my knowledge, there's never been an election at that school. Selection over election is what seems to be the order of the day. It's the right of Californians in a democracy to know when meetings are being held and how our money is being spent. As a taxpayer, I'm concerned about that. And I'm sure there are many taxpayers who are concerned about how the meetings are being held, when they are being held, and how our money is being spent. I urge your support of AB 360.
Thank you. Other witnesses in support?
Mr. Chairman and members, Brian Rivas on behalf of the California School Boards Association. We are the sponsors of this measure. I'll say very briefly, this bill, well, first off, we all admit charter schools are public schools funded by the taxpayers to educate any student who's interested. This bill applies to charter schools the rules and the restrictions that really are at the core of the way we regulate conflict of interest in this state. So things like holding open meetings and Government Code Section 1090, which says if you have authority over how public dollars are spent, you cannot pay yourself for goods and services. Self-interest cannot coexist with objectivity. So we think we owe it to the taxpayers to apply these rules to charter schools. And aside from the principle, there's a very practical element to this, and that is we think it's better to prevent abuses before they can occur rather than dragging schools and communities through costly investigations and revocation proceedings. So for those reasons, we're in support.
Thank you. Other witnesses in support?
Martha Zaragoza Diaz, representing Californians Together. We support this bill. It provides greater transparency to parents and the public with regards to the governance of charter schools and the public funds that are given to them to operate.
Katie Valenzuela with Public Advocates. I'd like to associate myself with the previous comments, and we're in support of the bill. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Patty Scripter, California State PTA. We appreciate the transparency this brings for parents so they can be more involved in schools.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Seth Bramble on behalf of the California Teachers Association in strong support.
Thank you, Seth.
Joshua Golka with the California School Employees Association, also in support.
Thank you.
Harold Boyd, United Teachers Los Angeles, also in support.
Thank you, Harold.
Terry Burns on behalf of SANDAB, San Bernardino Area District's Advocates for Better Schools, Santa Clara County Office of Education, and SEAC, the School Employers Association of California, all in support.
Thank you, Terry.
Pamela Gibbs for the Los Angeles County Superintendent of Schools in support.
Lynn Fox, California Federation of Teachers, in support.
Thank you, Lynn.
Sandy Silverstein, Riverside County School Superintendents, in support.
Thank you. Welcome, Assembly Member.
Virginia Strom Martin on behalf of LA Unified School District in strong support.
Pam Bachilla on behalf of the Oakland Unified School District and the San Francisco Unified School District in support.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair and members, Rand Martin on behalf of the California Charter Schools Association. I'm actually up here as a tweener. We have been engaged in vigorous and robust discussions with the author over the last several months. We are exceptionally close to an agreement on this bill and some other matters affecting charter schools, where we have no objection to the bill moving forward today. We know the Assembly member wants to move it forward today. We look forward to very soon coming forward and saying we are in support of this bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there other witnesses in support? Are there witnesses in opposition?
Mr. Chairman, Bill Lucia with Ed Voice. Wanted to point out that there is a subject matter bill that hasn't been heard before in the committee, and that's in the issue of the Government Code 1090 provisions.
Mm-hmm.
And we have specific concerns to that, having 5 State Board of Education members, 2 former mayors, including mayor of the largest city in Los Angeles, and 3 State Board of Education presidents who sat on our board, including the current State Board of Education president. They are very sensitive to issues about transparency, the Bagley-Keene, Brown Act, open meeting, PRA requirements. They've been subject to all of those. 1090 is somewhat trickier, though, and we wanted to bring a couple issues to your attention.
Okay.
This is the statute that 20 years ago tripped up Superintendent Honig, and just 6 months ago prevented his appointment to the State Board of Education because of the lifetime penalty and disqualification for holding public office. So this is these are non-trivial issues that we want to bring to your attention. The superintendent of public instruction just yesterday said that there were 143 schools in serious financial crisis in California. Just this school year, philanthropists that have been charter school board members have provided not thousands, not tens of thousands, but millions of dollars to charter schools to patch over the late budget last year to October, the cash flow problems because of cash deferrals that Sacramento placed on all schools, including charter schools. This bill would actually create a felony penalty for their continued participation, and we believe that the throwaway line to say that on page 4 of the bill, I believe it is, that says that these provisions don't apply for the other activities for which that board may engage in that are not charter school related, is the equivalent of just saying you get a get out of jail for free card to do your other business, but when you're still sitting on the board and have any role with a charter school, you can't do that. In the government code, there are no less than 16 explicit exemptions for public officials, including you all, in how you engage in the public policymaking process and the role that you may or may not have in contracts, specific descriptions of prohibited behavior, permissible behavior, disqualifying behavior, and rules for recusal, including specific exemptions for joint powers authorities, workforce investment boards, the county first 5 commissions. It's exhaustive. This is a issue that should be dealt with in the realm of education, in the role of governing bodies in education, and we would plead with you that charter schools, regular schools are already feeling the pinch as it is. Let's not make felons out of people that are providing help to charter schools to get up and running, bridge funding, facilities where they have no financial interest in terms of making any gain, but in order to allow them to come alongside and help public education. We believe there needs to be much more thought to that component of the bill. Again, with regard to the elements that this committee has heard in the past, the Public Records Act, Bagley-Keene, and the Brown Act, this is a non-fiscal bill. This could go through and they could go back on concurrence and be signed into law, and we'd be even happy to support that and even make it an urgency and make it immediately operative. But in terms of these provisions, we believe that there needs to be much more policy discussion. There are ramifications that have not been brought to this committee's attention that are not reflected in the body of dialogue and discussion that this committee's had in a public setting about the consequences of the direction this bill's taken.
Eric Premack with the Charter Schools Development Center. I won't repeat the concerns that Mr. Lucia has outlined, but we share them as well. I share them personally because I sit on the governing board of an organization that operates 2 charter schools, and because that organization happens to be a member of my organization, if this bill went through, I might be wearing an orange jumpsuit sometime soon. It's a serious concern. It's not trivial. I'm also concerned on behalf of many of our members, particularly the smaller schools. The provisions that this would impose are extremely complex and unusually difficult to implement in the charter context due to some of the unique structures of governance that we use. The rules often don't apply or don't have a clear way to apply them within the charter context that makes them very messy. Our organization does a tremendous amount of training on Brown Act, Public Records Act, and PRA for the many charter schools that currently voluntarily comply, and I can tell you it gums up the process in a really big way, and the transparency benefit that it provides in our experience is very limited. We'd urge you to hold the bill and reject it. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there other witnesses in opposition? Assembly member, would you like to respond to some of the issues of what we heard, I think, was general support, especially for the parts of the bill that had to do with the Public Records Act and open meetings, but there were some real concerns that were raised around the 1090 provision and whether inadvertently we could be creating, placing people in jeopardy that really it what I'm hearing from them, and I need a response back, that really would place people in jeopardy where the intention really shouldn't be to place them in jeopardy, and especially at a time of shrinking resources might limit the ability of charter schools or any school to be able to raise that money, especially when we don't pass budgets on time. And so any thoughts about that? That was what I heard as the critical opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First, I want to say, this bill, to gum up the process, is I understand where the gentleman is coming from, but it's abiding by conflict of interest policies. For any institution, we might say it gums it up, but we know it's the right thing to do. I think what was stated relative to the 1090 is exactly what I've been trying to work with the Charter School Association on in terms of coming to a finalized agreement on that. I recognize that there are charter schools operate in a unique fashion. I don't think that they should be exempt from conflict of interest, but I do think we have to look at their unique nature, and we're working on some exceptions and exemptions to keep 1090 whole, but understanding that there are some exceptions and exemptions, and bridge funding is a very good example of that, that the charter schools may indeed need and has been their past practice, and so forth and so on. So that's what exactly the provision that we're working on with 1090. We have made some other minor amendments in the bill, of which the Charter School Association has raised, and we have agreed to be included in the bill that's included in this version. And so I think as we move forward, I hope to get conclusion on these amendments, and by the time this bill is double referred, it will go to judiciary, and we hope by that point in time we'll have full agreement and on this, and we'll present those exemptions in the judiciary committee with your good blessings, of course, Mr. Chair.
Well, we would like to, and we will, I would believe, we'll be able to move this bill forward. We're not going to say that there's a requirement that you make these, or else we're going to call it back. But we would encourage you, with the Charter School Association, or with any, whether it's Ed Voice or others, to try to see that we could come to some agreement on these issues. And I would just hope that you would keep our staff apprised of the kinds of amendments that are taken, so that we will watch closely, because we see this as very, very important to be able to have the transparency, to have the conflicts of interest provisions. But we also want to make sure that we inadvertently do not do anything that really damages their ability to function, and that is not our goal at all. So,
nor is it mine,
and I know it isn't.
And you certainly have my commitment, and I really do believe that this bill is not designed to be a hammer on charter schools, but indeed a lever for charter schools in terms of moving ahead, spending their dollars wisely and transparently, and providing a good, high-quality education for our students of California.
And I completely concur. This is not part of that ongoing, maybe, disputes that frequently take place between charter schools and public schools, and so this is not what this is all about. We're talking about accountability of public monies, and whether it's a charter school, public school, local government agency, no matter who, state agency, we must have accountability of public, and it has nothing to do with the mission of that school, but really it has to do with how they use public monies, and I am very supportive of the bill.
Thank you.
With that, is there a motion on the bill?
Move the bill.
Bill's been moved by Senator Price. Do pass to judiciary. Would you like to close?
Respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Very good. As the beginning bill of the afternoon, after going through the entire morning, folks. Will Secretary please call the roll?
Lowenthal?
Aye.
Lowenthal, aye. Runner? Alquist? Aye. Alquist, aye. Blakesley? Hancock? Huff? Blue? Price? Aye. Price, aye. Semidion? Vargas? You have 3 votes. So.
We have 3 votes. Unfortunately, I cannot close the roll now, as I would like to probably, because it's not sufficient, but we'll hold it open for the absent members.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I do believe we have some more. This is the Brownlee Block Day.
This AB 1163, and I will be brief.
Item 32.
Item 32, AB 1163. And this bill would simply bring the California Education Facilities Authority into compliance with a new state test that was established by the California State Supreme Court ruling so that they can again finance tax-exempt bonds for private schools. By doing so, AB 1163 restores state oversight to the financing process. In addition, the bill also future-proofs the California Education Facilities Authority by automatically incorporating future court decisions in this area, eliminating the need to seek new legislation every time there's a new court ruling on this issue. So thank you for the opportunity again to present AB 1163. And I have several witnesses here from Diane Stanton from the Treasurer's Office and Paul Lassiter from Pepperdine University. And with that, I would respectfully ask again for your aye vote.
Witnesses in support.
Thank you, Committee. Diane Stanton on behalf of State Treasurer Bill Lockyer. We are the sponsor of this measure. The Education Facilities Association is housed in the Treasurer's Office, and we see this bill as providing some consistency with a 2007 State Supreme Court case, and we believe that as we change the definition, it makes CFA consistent with current case law as well as case law going forward should there be a change in opinion. And I have with me Ronald Washington, who's the Executive Director, to answer any technical questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Other witnesses in support?
Hi, my name is Paul Lassiter. I'm the Chief Financial Officer for Pepperdine University. I'm here in support of this bill. Mr. Chair and committee members, I urge your support of this bill. This is something that I view as critically important. One of the things that I do every day and occupies a lot of my time every day is trying to keep costs down. And access to tax-exempt financing for an institution like Pepperdine University is one of the ways that we're able to do that. And we're able, frankly, to provide more money to our students in the form of financial aid. So I'm glad, I appreciate the Representative Brownlee's support here and the CFA and the Treasurer's Office for moving this bill forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other witnesses in support? Are there witnesses in opposition? Any questions from members of the committee? Would you like to close?
This is a technical bill, but in essence what the bill does is create the opportunities that we have already seen in California and continues that because of this exception that was created by a Supreme Court case in 2007, and we respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Senator Price, would you like to move the bill? The bill's been moved by Senator Price voluntarily. Will do pass? Will the Secretary please call the roll?
Lowenthal?
Aye.
Lowenthal, aye. Runner? Alquist? Blakesley? Hancock? Huff? Blue? Price? Aye. Price, aye. Semidian? Vargas?
We have 2 votes. We're going to place the bill on call for the absent members. And I believe we may have one more.
I have one more, Senator.
Oh, my goodness.
And one on consent.
Yes, and we have not called the consent calendar. The one you have next.
Committee pull on that one if you want to announce it.
Oh, yeah, we have pulled AB 440. I did not announce that, and at the author's request, we have pulled AB 440. So we are now back to, and I believe we are not going to be hearing AB 709, which is on consent, but we are going to hear AJR 10, school-based health centers.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As you all know, a student's health is frequently linked with a student's success in the classroom. Healthy students rarely miss class and tend not to fall behind in school. Unfortunately, more than 1.5 million California children are uninsured. AJR 10 will recognize the benefits of a school-based health center program. This resolution requests the United States Congress to appropriate funds for this program through the Federal Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act. Additionally, it will advocate for the inclusion of school-based health centers in the reauthorization of the Federal Elementary and Secondary Education Act. Healthy students are successful students. We must promote child health care and education. AJR 10 gives us the unique opportunity to do both. And I respectfully ask again for an aye vote on this important resolution.
Witnesses in support of the resolution.
Good morning. My name is Anna.
No, please press it right now. No, one more time.
Yes.
All right.
Good morning. My name is Anna Oriana. Throughout my 4 years of high school, I have struggled staying focused towards the end of the school year. This year that I was a youth advisor for the Richmond High School Health Clinic in Richmond, California, I just didn't help other peers stay healthy, but it also helped me by staying focused on my education and my health. Everyone in the health clinic has supported me and motivated me to not just stop on my education, but to keep on going and not to give up on my academic goals to become a phlebotomist in the future. Since my freshman year, all throughout my senior year, there has been about 15% of students in the class of 2011 who have dropped out. And although my class was the biggest class to graduate from Richmond High School in over 20 years, the 15% of students that dropped out is still a few that could have had the same opportunity to graduate as well as me and my peers. And with the help and support of the health center staff, youth advisor, parents, and also school staff, I believe that the rate of high school dropouts can be minimized. And I would like to thank you and ask for you to support AJR 10.
Thank you for your testimony. That was very helpful. Other witnesses in support.
Good afternoon. My name is Samantha Blackburn, and I'm representing the California School Health Centers Association, and we're the sponsor of this resolution. I'm here not only because I work for this organization, but also because I've served in school-based health centers as a school nurse and as a pediatric nurse practitioner, as well as a director of the programs. And I see the incredible value, and I've lived the incredible value that these school-based health centers offer students in terms of getting access to primary medical care, counseling services, and dental health care that otherwise they would not get access to. And I want to address a couple misconceptions that some might have about school-based health centers. One of those is that school-based health centers ask schools to become healthcare providers, to grow their mission outside of education, to provide healthcare as well. And the truth is, for better or for worse, schools are already providing healthcare. They have to provide or arrange for a wide range of healthcare services for students in special education. And I mean complex services like catheterizing students, providing medications through feeding tubes, and et cetera. They also provide services when a student is cut and bleeds on a desk, throws up at school, or more seriously, has a seizure or an asthma attack while at school. They have to handle those health issues. And when schools are required to exclude students who don't have all of the required immunizations, they are dealing with those health issues. And currently, they're doing so with little or no resources as a result of our budget crisis. The goal of this resolution is not to pile more work onto schools, but to make it easier for them to address these issues that they already must deal with. While not all schools want school-based health centers, many do. We are currently supporting 40 startup school-based health centers that are planning a clinic across the state. And that's in addition to our 176 school health centers we currently have. Another misconception is that school-based health centers might take resources away from schools. And school-based health centers have never been about competing for educational resources. Instead, those resources exist in our community healthcare system, particularly in our community clinics throughout the state and a number of other community-based organizations that will deliver these services. This resolution is about bringing these resources into schools where students are and these needs need to be met, so it's a win-win. And lastly, I'd like to just say that my clinical experience as well as research has shown that school-based health centers help students improve their attendance, including decreasing dropout rates, as Anna was saying, as well as improving student behavior at school. And what we see is that this doesn't actually bring any cost pressure or any additional cost to schools. It actually improves, it increases revenue to schools because school districts experience an increase in their ADA revenue. So thank you.
Thank you. Other witnesses in support?
Erica Hoffman on behalf of the California School Boards Association. CSBA believes very strongly that schools do need to address the issues of the whole child, and that includes the children's health, being able to provide it in a collaborative, family-centered manner. School health clinics are a great way to achieve that, and we are very much in support of the bill.
Thank you. Other witnesses in support?
Patty Scripter, California State PTA, agree with what CSBA just said. We have to address the issue of the whole child. A healthier child will be in school more and have a greater opportunity for success. We're in support of the bill.
Are there any other witnesses in support? Are there any witnesses in opposition? Assembly member, would you like to close?
Well, I appreciate all your time and attention on all of these bills, and I think this is an important resolution that schools are the best portal for providing access to students and their health care for their families, and I really, again, would just appreciate so much the support of this committee on this resolution.
Bill's been moved by the official mover, Senator Price.
The mover and shaker.
The mover and shaker. Secretary, please call the roll.
Motion is to pass. Lowenthal?
Aye.
Lowenthal, aye. Renner? Alquist? Blakesley? Hancock? Huff? Blue? Price? Price, aye. Semidian? Vargas? You have 2 votes.
Thank you,
You have
Mr.
2
Chair.
votes. We'll place that
Thank you,
on
Senator
call
Price.
for the absent member.
Thank you.
I believe it's Assembly member, is Skinner or Block?
She's there.
I think Skinner, if she's, oh, here she is. Welcome. I think.
Thank you, Madam Mr. Chair and members, whichever members are here.
Mr. Chair is the only one that's left.
It's all right. AB 402.
Yes.
Right
Closing
now,
the loop.
we provide for low-income families a meal program, and that meal program, the eligibility mirrors the eligibility for our CalFresh program.
Right.
But we have many families who are accessing the meal program that do not realize they might also be eligible for our CalFresh, our food stamps program. So what AB 402 does is give school districts the option to include information about CalFresh in their school meal application. And second, it authorizes school districts, with the consent of parents or legal guardians, to share the school meal application information with social service agencies. And by sharing that information, counties then can improve their CalFresh participation. It is not a local mandate. It provides flexibility in how local agencies implement the process. And here to testify in support are Jennifer Lahan from the Oakland Unified School District Nutrition Services Director, Kathy Senderling from the County Welfare Directors Association, and Jessica Barlow, from the Western Center on Law and Poverty.
Witnesses in support.
Good afternoon.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm Jennifer Labar. I'm the Director for Nutrition Services for Oakland Unified School District, and I'm asking you to join me in supporting AB 402, Hunger Free Kids Act. In Oakland, 68% of our students qualify for free and reduced meals. Often, the only healthy meals our students eat are those that they receive at school. This is due to reasons which range from limited community access to healthy foods to families' lack of financial resources. Many of these students may also qualify for CalFresh. However, due to cumbersome application processes, Many families do not receive these benefits. According to a 2009 Public Policy Institute California report, only 39% of those who qualify for CalFresh actually receive those benefits. AB 402 will allow districts to share information about free and reduced meal program applicants with county social services to expedite the CalFresh application process. Currently, social services shares information with school districts as part of direct certification, allowing districts to automatically qualify students for free meals. Therefore, relationships have already been established between school districts and county social services. We believe that information should flow both ways to make it easier for families to apply for and receive CalFresh benefits. In Oakland, we are striving to create community schools with the main goal of improving the quality of children's lives. We want to ensure that our students are being healthy so that they can be academically successful and on the path to being healthy adults. AB 402 will allow districts to assist parents to have access to healthy food for their children. Oakland has participated in Alameda County Nutrition Action Partners for several years. One of CNAT's goals is to increase CalFresh participation in part by creating new avenues through which families can apply for these benefits. We have developed a single application that would allow families to use a streamlined process to apply for all USDA supplemental nutrition programs. These include school meals, emergency foods, CalFresh, and WIC. While we have started a pilot with WIC and emergency food and CalFresh programs, we haven't been able to move forward with the school meals. Wouldn't it be wonderful if families could go to one location and fill out one piece of paperwork to apply for all 4 programs? We believe AB 402 will help us to do that. Thank you for the opportunity to talk to you today.
Other witnesses in support.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. Kathy Sunderling with the County Welfare Directors Association. We're pleased to be a co-sponsor of this legislation. And what we're trying to do here is really build on some success that we saw from a bill that we sponsored about 10 years ago, AB 59, which allows school lunch information to also be shared for Medi-Cal application purposes. This year, when we were looking at our legislative priorities, we had 2 separate counties on their own without consulting each other put forward this idea. And neither of them was Alameda County. So as you can see, now we have 3 counties that are very interested in doing this as well. So we were pleased to carry the bill forward. We've been working very well with the nutrition advocates to make sure that it's going to work for counties that choose to do this and school districts that choose to do this. And we think it's going to really help kids be prepared to learn when their bellies are full. Thank you for your support.
Thank you. Other witnesses in support.
Thank you, Chairman Lowenthal. Jessica Bartholow with the Western Center on Law and Poverty. We are a co-sponsor of the legislation and in support of the legislation, which we think will really help to address hunger among low-income kids here in California. The school meal nutrition program and the CalFresh program are our state's best defense against hunger. When the school meal is no longer available to the kids during the summer months or during extended school breaks, which are more and more these days as schools struggle to make their budgets work out, we know that kids go without meals. If we're able to ensure that they have assistance for food through the SNAP program federally and through the CalFresh program locally, we think that that will go a long way to end hunger for those children and help them achieve in school. And we urge your aye vote. Thank you.
Thank you.
Liberty Sanchez on behalf of Laborers Local 777 and 792, representing classified school employees as well as county social services eligibility workers, in strong support of this.
Thank you.
Hi, Patty Scripter, California State PTA. On behalf of our almost 1 million members, we're pleased to support the bill. It's a priority for both the California State PTA and the National PTA to improve food for kids. This is a great opportunity to get our kids healthier food, and they'll be less hunger, more able to perform in school and meet their potential. We ask for an aye vote.
Nicole Wortelman on behalf of the Alameda County Board of Supervisors and City and County of San Francisco in support.
Martha Flammer representing the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors and appreciate the opportunity to do anything we can to increase access to food.
Thank you. Are there any other witnesses in support? Are there any witnesses in opposition? If not, let's bring this back behind the rail. Is there?
I'm happy to make the motion to support this excellent bill. And actually, Assemblywoman Skinner, if there's an opportunity, I'd like to be added as a co-author on the bill.
Absolutely. We'll try to process that.
I think this, I concur. This,
Human Services, right?
It's due past to Human Services. I, too, believe it's an excellent bill. The only question I have is how you came up with the name of the Hunger Free Schools Act, but, I always wonder how people come up with these names. But that's not to be discussed at this moment. With that, would you like to close, Assemblymember?
I think the issues have been well vetted and respectfully ask the committee for their aye vote.
Thank you. Secretary, please call the roll.
Lowenthal.
Aye.
Lowenthal, aye. Runner. Alquist. Blakesley. Hancock.
Aye.
Hancock, aye. Huff. Lou. Price. Semidian. Vargas.
We have 2 votes. We'll place it on call for the
Thank
absent
you very
members. I believe, besides, we have Assembly Member Block for the rest of the afternoon.
Thank you, Senator.
Let's begin.
Okay, I have 4 bills I'm presenting
bills.
today. Yes. The first is AB 620.
Yeah, AB 620, item number 18. Let's go right to that.
Okay, AB 620 is a bullying bill. We've seen several of them this session. This one deals with harassment of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender students on university campuses. We've all heard of the tragedies that have occurred on campuses just within the last couple of years. Students who are different based on their sexual orientation are often the butt of jokes, and often campuses aren't prepared to work well with them to make sure that their needs are met. AB 620 will create safer campuses by doing several things. Number one, it will allow us to improve how we collect demographic data so we can better be aware of the presence and needs of LGBT students. Right now, LGBT students are not a separate reporting category for most demographic data. We are collecting. This will give students the opportunity, if they wish to self-identify. It will also update student codes of conduct where necessary to include formal policies, rules, and regulations on harassment and bullying. Among other provisions, it will convene focus groups and assessment mechanisms on campus to identify the best practices, and these groups can then make additional recommendations to the 3 segments of higher education. CPEC has already been very involved in looking at different ways to serve LGBT students. Wide range of support for AB 620 includes Equality California, the California Teachers Association, California Federation of Teachers, Student Center for California Community Colleges, Anti-Defamation League, National Organization for Women. The CSU had earlier had a position of opposition because of cost, but with amendments we've taken, they tell us they will be removing that opposition. We have witnesses here to speak to the bill today.
Good. Witnesses in support.
Good afternoon, Chair Lowenthal and members. Julia Blair with the California Post-Secondary Education Commission in support of AB 620. In 2008, CPEC began a 9-month study of issues facing lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender students in California's public colleges and universities. We conducted research, collected data, consulted with students, campus representatives, and experts in the field, and held a panel discussion at one of our meetings with some of these individuals. That study led to a set of commission recommendations focusing on expanding opportunities and improving outcomes for all students in the state's post-secondary systems. In short, our research found that LGBT students face many challenges, but knowing exactly what those are and the degree to which they affect students is hard to quantify due to the lack of data available on this population. So without better data, it's difficult to clearly identify specific issues of LGBT students, how those issues might differ from the experience of non-LGBT students, and what are the best strategies in addressing those issues. The Commission's research included expert input from the campuses and shows that challenges facing LGBT students require additional campus services and resources to assure their success in college. Compared to heterosexual students, LGBT students face higher rates of mental health problems, sexual health risks, substance abuse, and family issues leading to negative health outcomes. The research shows that success for LGBT students is affected by their feelings of safety and support, of being welcomed by faculty, staff, and other students, of their ability to make friends, and their access to LGBT students, and the presence of LGBT role models on campus. In summary, the Commission believes that better data, stronger policies, and thoughtful planning and providing of services will enable California colleges and universities to better support the progress and success of LGBT students and indeed of the other students on campus as well. The Commission recognizes state budget realities and the limitations they impose on targeting additional funding to LGBT-specific policies and programs. At the same time, LGBT students need to feel safe on campus, protected from harassment, and supported in their educational pursuits. These students should have access to appropriate support services and should feel their success is as important and facilitated by the campus as that of non-LGBT students. Again, thank you for your interest in this topic, and we ask for your support.
Thank you. Other witnesses in support.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, member of the committee. My name is Lance Chi. I'm a current student at Sac State. I testified earlier this afternoon about the harassments that I received in high school, and unfortunately they continued on when I went to the local community college out in Folsom. I was actually one of the students that testified in front of CPEC, and what I told them the main difference between high school and college was I was paying to be harassed. And I don't think that's a experience I should have to pay for when I'm going to a college. As a community college student, I received multiple harassments from my fellow students. I went to teachers and other professors trying to find out what is the procedure that I have to do to get these incidences reported, and they didn't know where I was supposed to go or whom I was supposed to talk to. So my first 2 years at community college, these issues went unresolved. As a result, my GPA in community college dropped greatly. When I transferred to Sac State, I haven't experienced anything bad yet, and I say yet because I never know when it's going to happen to me again. But as a result of my GPA as a community college student, I'm now struggling to see if I will be able to pursue my educational careers of going into grad school. I respectfully ask that you vote yes on this bill.
Other witnesses in support.
Matthew Bunch here on behalf of Equality California. We're happy to be the sponsor of this legislation and would ask for your aye vote.
Andrew Martinez, California State University. We want to thank the author for working with us and taking a support position.
Tony Triguero on behalf of the California Teachers Association in support.
Judith Michaels, California Federation of Teachers in support.
Mary Moyle for the Community Colleges Chancellor's Office would like to thank the author for working with us, and we urge an aye vote.
Bonnie Slauson representing the California Community College Trustees Board of Directors, and the board is in support of this legislation. Urge aye vote. Thank you.
Sabrina Means on behalf of the California Faculty Association, which represents faculty at the California State University system, in support.
Bertie Campos, California State Student Association, in support.
Carolyn Laub, Gay Straight Alliance Network, in support.
Isaiah Becerra, student at UCLA this fall, in support.
Welcome back. Thank you. Any other witnesses in support? Witnesses in opposition? Welcome.
Michael McDermott, men's civil rights advocate, once again facing up against another bait-and-switch homosexualist bullying bill. 620 talks about the need to combat racism, sexism, and other forms of bias in the educational system. I have some extensive comments which I submit for the written record, and you already have a copy of my excerpt from this. I would point out to you, first off, that the California educational system does engage in sexist discrimination against the male minority. You will not find a campus men's center anywhere in the system, and in fact, it's a punishable offense that campus feminists will go off campus to harass men who recommend establishment of a campus men's center. But then in the state of California, we have a commission on the status of women, which is tax subsidized, and the governor wanted to cut the budget, but we still have it. It's been restored by the legislature. It is a governmentally punishable offense, and I have been punished by the government and courts for even recommending the establishment of a commission for men to operate in equal relationship to the commission for women. The University of California system, CSU, they have campus gender centers, they have homosexualist centers. They want to add another person. This is just padding their payroll. They don't have a single advocate on behalf of the male minority, and they yet pretend they're going to be opposed to sexism. As far as specific points, once again, I point out that Jennifer Beeman, one of the most senior members of the California Educational Violence Prevention Programs, was arrested and is now in prison for embezzling money from the system. The Davis Vanguard talks about how this case shows the systemic problems with the use of grant money for law enforcement efforts. This is a gravy train. The biggest victim gets the most money, and they compete to trash men. Sexism. I am a lying sexist. Cut open my head, drag out the pig, and butcher it. That's the student newspaper at the University of California. Eat my knee, jerk, when they do alleged rape training, which is essentially working out your hatred against men. Where does that get addressed in this bill? Where does the fact that, for instance, the head of the so-called Homosexualist Alliance at Tamalpais High School staged hate crimes against herself in order to give her the power to bully others? And she would have gotten away with it if she hadn't gotten caught. The University of California, the official position on heterosexuality is that, quote, gang rape represents normal male sexuality, the abuse of women for fun, end quote. And seeing as I took exception to that and publicly objected to it at a university forum, the Campus Feminist Women's Center came after me secretly in private and contacted my employers, and I lost my job over it, which was another feminist victory. This is a hollow, disgraceful sham. Our educational system is turned into a joke. And the last thing I point out to you is the last page, that at least Texas got it right. The Texas court confirms that sex cannot be changed. What are you going to do with your educational textbooks that talk about male and female being necessary in order to produce offspring, compared to legislation that says you can have 2 moms and 2 dads and no father whatsoever in law? This is separatist, exterminationist, hate-mongering. Our university system is deeply biased against men, and this bill simply helps to make it worse. I oppose it.
Thank you. Witnesses in opposition? Not seeing any more witnesses in opposition. Members of the committee? Senator Price?
Prepared to move the bill. I think Senator Block and the sponsors have been trying to address a critical issue, one that certainly has a lot of sensitivity in our society. But I think we have to do all we can to be as inclusive and as non-discriminatory as possible. And I support this bill.
Thank you. I think this is, we heard a great deal of testimony with Assemblymember Amiano, which really looked at K through 12 primarily. This is a great complement that really looks at higher education also and addresses some of the same issues of harassment, intimidation, and it's an appropriate bill for the legislature, and I commend you for bringing it up. Would you like to close?
Just urge your aye vote, sir.
Secretary, please call the roll. Let's do pass to judiciary.
Lowenthal?
Aye.
Lowenthal, aye. Runner, Alquist, Blakesley, Hancock, Huff, Lou, Price.
Aye.
Price, aye. Semidian, Vargas. 2 votes.
You have 2 votes. We'll place that on call for the absent members. Now we move on, Assembly member, to the next bill.
Yes, I believe the next bill is AB 684 regarding community college trustee elections.
Yes, item number 21. The motion, when we do this, will be do pass 2 elections.
As amended.
Thank you.
As amended.
Yes, there is an amendment recommended by staff, a technical amendment in analysis number 5, and I accept that as an author's amendment.
Duly noted as an author's amendment.
Under current law, many community college districts use an at-large voting system. The California Voting Rights Act expresses concern at the use of at-large, that is, district-wide elections, when they act to reduce the influence or number of ethnic minority or other minority candidates who might be elected when the outcome is abridged or diluted. This bill requires that when a community college district wishes to change their system from district-wide at-large to trustee districts, that they merely need to go before the California Community College Board of Governors for approval of that change. Once the local trustees have passed a resolution. Instead of having to go out to a vote of the voters would then be required to let them change under current law. So this makes it a more cost-effective process. And in fact, the way it's currently done, many districts fear that they'd be subject to litigation if they don't change their voting process. At the Grossmont-Cuyamaca Community College District in San Diego, that district has already passed a resolution that would allow them to move toward trustee area elections. In February of this past year, they passed this resolution, and they're a good case example of where the Voting Rights Act would likely force them to change anyway or would require litigation against them. In the Grossmont district, the populace is about 25% Latino, and yet they have had only one out of the last 20 elected trustees be Latino. Members of the district feel that is largely, if not solely, because of at-large elections. Because they have already passed this as a group of trustees, passed this resolution, this bill would enable them to immediately become trustee area election district. I ask for your aye vote, and with me here to testify, I have the president of the Grossmont-Cuyamaca District, Bill Garrett, Bonnie Slauson from the California Community College League.
Witnesses in support.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I'm Bill Garrett, president of the Grossmont-Cuyamaca Community College District Board of Trustees, and as been indicated by the Assembly member, we have taken the initiative to make sure that we are ahead of the game to a certain extent as it relates to the California Voters' Rights Act, because we recognize the lack of minority activity in our board itself, and so we have gone on record as saying we want to make the move as soon as possible. In addition to being part of the California Voting Rights Act initiative and making sure that we are in compliance with that, we also recognize that by going to district elections, we're going to actually save some money in our elections, because we'll be going just district by district as opposed to every time having to go at large, and so that is going to be supportive. And then as well, this bill also allows us to have go to a primary election similar to what now the legislature has in the top two and winners of a primary, and that will make sure that a majority of the people voting are going to vote for the winner of that particular district. And so with those ideas, we recommend and request an aye vote on this bill.
Thank you. Other witnesses in
support? Yes, Mr. Chairman and Committee. Bonnie Slauson, representing the Community College League, and we are the sponsors of this legislation. This legislation aligns the law for changing election systems for the community colleges with the current law that K through 12 school districts have, and allows the changing of the system without having to hold a very costly election for purposes of compliance with the California Voter Rights Act. In lieu of an election, to change to trustee areas or to change to a primary or general election, a district would be able to have the option to change the election system by local board resolution after going through extensive studies and redistricting and looking at the census information and working with our county offices of education. And they would be able to adopt a local board resolution and subsequent approval by our State Board of Governors, which would be comparable to the State Board of Education, which is in the current law. AB 684 will save millions of dollars for our community colleges and reduce liability of litigation for compliance with the California Voter Rights Act. Dollars will stay in our classrooms while our colleges now are being so challenged with very challenging and difficult budget decisions and the possibility of having to reduce thousands of course sections in our community colleges. We believe that this is a cost-effective measure. It affords our community colleges to have the same option that K through 12 school districts have through the State Board of Education, and we believe that those dollars should stay within the community college system for education of our students. Thank you.
Other witnesses in support?
Justin Selnick on behalf of the California Community Colleges, Office of the Chancellor, and the Board of Governors in support.
Good afternoon. Michelle McKay Underwood on behalf of San Bernardino Community College District. For all the reasons so well articulated by Ms. Lawson, we are in support.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Manny Ontiveros, trustee, North Orange County, and second vice president of the league. We urge your support. Thank you.
Mark McDonald, McCallum Group, on behalf of the Los Rios Community College District, also in support of the bill.
Are there any witnesses in opposition? Not hearing any. Members of the committee? Bill's been moved by Senator Blakesley. Would you like to close?
I would just ask for your aye vote.
The motion is do pass with amendments to judiciary. Did we do two elections? Two elections. No, do pass two elections as amended.
Okay.
Secretary, please call the roll.
Lowenthal?
Aye.
Lowenthal, aye. Runner? Alquist? Blakesley? Aye. Blakesley, aye. Hancock? Huff? Lou? Price? Aye. Price, aye. Semidion? Vargas? He has 3 votes.
Bill has 3 votes. We'll place it on call. Continuing on, Assemblymember Block. There are many more that we have to.
2 more, Senator.
Oh, only
Thank
2
you.
more.
Item 24.
Item 24, AB 743.
Okay, AB 743, Senator, creates a common assessment for community colleges up and down the state of California. It will have us be able to use a common tool for students, whether they're attending community college in San Diego or San Francisco, anywhere in between. Right now, there are multiple assessment tests given at different colleges, and students, as a result, have to show that they are college ready for math or English classes on different tests depending on what college they're attending. If students attend more than one college, they have to take redundant tests at a cost to the student, a cost to the college. If they're shown to be college ready on a test in one community college, they take a class and they move to another community college and don't do well on the assessment test, they have to retake classes in order to become college ready for that district. The Community College Chancellor's Office has taken on this task and has a plan to have one assessment test for all colleges in the state. And we think this option will save money. In fact, it's estimated it'll save $2.2 million and will provide more tests for students. We'll also have students taking fewer classes. The Chancellor's Office is a sponsor of the bill, and we have CPEC on board as well as the Community College League, Student Center for California Community Colleges, and others. Witnesses here to testify to this bill.
Assemblymember, I just want to clarify. I think you've said it already, but I just want to make sure we're all speaking the same language. That is, when we're talking about a common assessment, we're talking about a common assessment for readiness in English and mathematics for, to do college-level work, and that's really the assessment tool that we're talking about. That students now will be taking the same assessment tool once it's developed at all the community colleges in the state of California.
And ESL as well.
And ESL. Witnesses in support.
Mr. Chairman and members, Marlene Garcia from the Community College Chancellor's Office and the Board of Governors are sponsoring this measure. And this is a major part of our student success strategy. And we think by leveraging volume discounts at the statewide level, we can save campuses in the state a lot of resources, not to mention all the benefits to students because it's just easier. In addition, this common assessment will also give campuses unlimited licensure usage so that every student will be able to be tested, whereas now we have a certain budget and we can only test a certain number of students. So all students who need to enter English, math, or English as a second language will be able to take this common assessment.
Can you describe that a little bit more? What do you mean by not all students are assessed now in terms of readiness, in terms of English and math, throughout the entire California system?
Right now, the assessment program is part of our matriculation program in the community colleges, which of course has taken significant cuts in the last several years. And so we've had, because of budget constraints, you can only offer the test a certain number of times. So when a local campus negotiates with a local vendor, they're able to offer the test X number of times because of costs. So we'd be able to give them unlimited use to this test, and meaning so then they'd be able to test everyone who needs it.
Other witnesses in support.
My name is William Carnes. I'm the Vice Chancellor of Education and Technology in the Los Rios Community College District here in Sacramento. And I'm very pleased to be here speaking in support of AB 743 because for the past 4 years, I and faculty and staff in the district have been working to create assessment portability inside the Los Rios District, which means that, unlike before, that a student taking, say, an assessment test in ESL will be able to transport that placement across the district inside the 4 colleges. That experience has been interesting. It's been difficult to explain to students and their parents why that hasn't been the case before. And it's been difficult to explain to students, parents of Sierra or Yuba, contiguous districts, why their placement assessments wouldn't be good in our particular district. We've been working to alleviate that, and we've been successful in doing that, in part because we were able to create adopt a common assessment instrument in ESL across the district. But that solution will not necessarily solve the problem for those students who assessed at Sierra or Yuba, contiguous districts, and who want to take Los Rios courses. This bill will extend the local idea of assessment portability beyond the district into the region and the state. And it's particularly important at a time when students are increasingly mobile because of the cuts that we've been making to these college schedules, and the fact that they're coming to college increasingly unprepared for college-level work, which makes effective assessment so vital for success. It makes sense to have a common assessment and system, an associated data system, and enhanced readiness for the assessment process. Finally, I tried personally to lever the number of ESL students that we had with the provider to get a better price, but I wasn't particularly successful. But this bill will leverage the state's power to help us make the best use of the limited funds we have to advance student success. In my view, it's good policy. It creates efficiencies and supports our students toward their educational goals. I think it will create a simpler, more student-friendly assessment process with fewer barriers and more vivid effect. And I know I speak for many when I respectfully urge your aye vote.
I have a question. You know, you said you've now done a common assessment among the 4 colleges in the district. And
in
yet,
ESL.
Huh?
In ESL.
Yeah, in ESL. And yet you have other districts adjacent to it that have different assessments. Either you or the spokesperson for the Chancellor's office, have you found tremendous variability among different assessment tools that really are more or less effective along the effectiveness of really identifying what needs students really have or deficiencies, and identifying what potentially would be the kinds of interventions that are needed? Are there tremendous differences right now among the different colleges?
There probably isn't. There isn't too much variance, but the majority of campuses use one of 2 tests. Okay. And then there are a lot of outliers that use different tests that I'm not clear on how effective they are. But most of them test similar test items. I think what's been happening, though, in preparation for this move is that there's been a task force that has looked at how we select one test, because that will be the big change that will occur is, since most colleges use one of 2 tests, someone's going to have to change. There are going to be colleges that are going to change tests, and there are going to be some colleges that can continue using the tests they're currently using. So there will be that transition. And part of the decision-making process will be those tests, and they're off-the-shelf tests right now. Those tests, that test will be selected based on what's most effective, and then with an eye toward the future and coordinating with K-12 and ensuring that eventually we can adapt and align this test to the Common Core standard. And that's the long-term goal. That's an important part of this plan.
Thank you. Other witnesses in support?
Andrew Martinez, California State University. We agree with the system-wide approach. Makes sense. Since these students do come to our system, we are in support of this proposal.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark McDonald. Mark McDonald, McCallum Group, on behalf of 11 local community college districts: Antelope Valley, Glendale, Kern, Los Angeles, Los Rios, Mount San Jacinto, Peralta, Rio Hondo, San Diego, West Kern, and Yosemite. And I would echo the remarks of my colleagues and only note that it's rare that we get all of the districts that we represent to get on board in support of a bill
For various reasons, they have different issues, but this is one of those bills that all of our districts have come on board and supported. And we appreciate the Chancellor's Office's work on this and the author's work on this over the last few years.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Bonnie Slauson, representing the Community College League, and we too concur with many of the comments that have been made earlier. This is a student-friendly bill. It will help to save our students time and confusion while saving our colleges dollars. We also believe that this effort would support the findings and the recommendation of the League's Commission on the Future, Vision 2020, which calls for an increase of 1 million students completing college in the community colleges. Thank you. We urge your support of the bill.
Mr. Chairman and members, Michelle McKay Underwood on behalf of San Bernardino Community College District in strong support.
Albert Parnell with the Hispanic Association of Colleges and Universities, and we're in support.
Julia Blair with the California Post-Secondary Education Commission in support.
Are there any witnesses in opposition? Someone coming down? Yes.
Mr. Chair, Tony Triguero on behalf of the California Teachers Association. We did have a letter